My boyfriend looked at me and said, I don't feel romantic feelings anymore. 4 years of my life. Reduced to one sentence. Delivered over coffee. On a Tuesday. Like he was commenting on the weather. I didn't cry. I asked him one question. And his answer made me realize he'd been planning this for months. My name is Isabel. I was 31 when it happened, living in Nashville, working as a graphic designer for a marketing agency. I'd been with Ryan for 4 years, living together for 2 of them. We had a one-bedroom apartment in East Nashville, a rescue cat named Walter, a standing Sunday brunch tradition with friends who saw us as the stable couple in the group. I thought we were solid. Not perfect, but good. The kind of relationship that felt like home, comfortable, safe, built on shared routines and inside jokes and knowing each other's coffee orders without asking. Ryan worked in finance. Investment analyst. The kind of job that required him to be sharp, analytical, always thinking 3 steps ahead. I'd always admired that about him. The way he could break down complex problems into simple solutions, the way he approached decisions methodically. I just never thought he'd apply that same cold logic to us. The conversation happened on a Tuesday morning. I was working from home that day, had made us both coffee, was sitting at the kitchen table reviewing design mock-ups when Ryan sat down across from me with this expression I couldn't quite read. We need to talk. Those words. The 4 words that never mean anything good. I set down my laptop. Okay. I've been thinking a lot about us. About our relationship. About where we're headed. Okay, I said again, feeling something cold starting to form in my chest. And I don't think this is working anymore. What isn't working? This. I don't feel the same way I used to feel about you. I sat there, trying to process what he was saying. What do you mean you don't feel the same way? I don't feel romantic feelings anymore. I care about you. I respect you. But the spark's gone. And I don't think it's coming back. He said it so calmly. Like he was explaining a quarterly report. Like he'd already run the numbers and determined that we weren't a profitable investment anymore. When did you stop feeling it? I asked. I don't know. It's been gradual. A few months maybe. A few months. I repeated his words slowly. You've been feeling this way for months and you're just telling me now? I wanted to be sure. I didn't want to blow up our relationship over something temporary. How considerate. He missed the sarcasm. Or ignored it. I think we should break up. Cleanly. Before this gets messy. I looked at him sitting across from me at the table where we'd eaten hundreds of meals together, where we'd planned vacations and argued about whose turn it was to do dishes and talked about maybe getting a second cat, and I felt something shift in my chest. Not heartbreak. Not yet. Just clarity. Can I ask you something? Of course. Have you met someone else? No. This isn't about anyone else. This is about us not working anymore. But you've thought about dating other people. He hesitated just long enough that I knew the answer before he said it. I think it's natural to wonder what else is out there. We got together when we were young. I've changed. You've changed. Maybe we've grown in different directions. What direction have you grown in? I want different things now. I want excitement. Adventure. I feel like we've fallen into this routine and I'm suffocating in it. What routine? This. He gestured around the apartment. Same coffee every morning. Same restaurants every weekend. Same conversations. I feel like I'm living the same day over and over. You never said you were unhappy. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. So instead you waited until you were completely checked out and then dropped it on me over coffee on a Tuesday morning? I thought being honest was better than dragging it out. I stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the street below where people were going about their normal Tuesday mornings, completely unaware that my entire life was imploding. How long have you been planning this conversation? What do you mean? I turned to face him. You said you've been feeling this way for months, which means you've had months to think about how to say this. So I'm asking, how long have you been planning to break up with me? He shifted in his chair. A few weeks. I wanted to find the right time. The right time. Was there a specific reason you chose today? No. I couldn't keep pretending anymore. Pretending what? That I'm happy. That this is what I want. I nodded slowly. Okay. One more question. Okay. Where are you planning to go? He blinked. What? When you move out. Where are you planning to go? I haven't really thought about it. Yes, you have. You've been planning this for weeks. You've thought about it. He looked uncomfortable. I have a friend with a spare room. He said I could crash there for a while. Which friend? Does it matter? It matters to me. Tyler. Tyler. Single. Late 20s. The friend who was always texting Ryan about happy hours and concerts and weekend trips to Chattanooga. The friend I'd met twice and who'd looked at me both times like I was an inconvenient obstacle to his bromance with Ryan. When did you ask Tyler if you could stay with him? Last week. Last week. I felt something click into place. So, you've been planning your exit for at least a week. You knew you were going to break up with me, you lined up where you were going to stay, and then you sat through Sunday brunch with me and our friends and smiled and laughed and acted like everything was fine. I didn't want to ruin everyone's weekend. How thoughtful. Isabel. When are you planning to move out? I thought this weekend. Give us both some space to process this. This weekend. 5 days from now. Yeah. I walked back to the table. Picked up my coffee. Looked at him. No, I said. No. You don't get 5 more days. You don't get to stay here pretending we're roommates while you mentally check out and I sit here processing the fact that my 4-year relationship just ended over coffee. You want to leave? Leave today. Isabel, that's not realistic. I need time to pack. To figure out logistics. You had weeks to figure out logistics. You're just choosing not to until the last minute because you wanted to control the timeline. Well, I'm controlling it now. You're leaving today. Where am I supposed to go? Tyler's. That's where you plan to go anyway. All my stuff is here. Then you can come back this weekend to get it. But you're not sleeping here tonight. Ryan's face went through several emotions. Shock first. Then calculation. Then something that looked almost like fear. You're being unreasonable. I'm being clear. There's a difference. This is my home too. The lease has both our names on it. Then we'll talk to the landlord about breaking it. But you're not staying here while we figure that out. You ended this relationship. You don't get to decide how the ending looks. I'm trying to be mature about this. Mature would have been telling me months ago that you were unhappy instead of letting me live in a relationship you'd already decided was over. This. I gestured at the table at him, at the casual cruelty of his timing. This is just cowardice with good planning. He stood up. Fine. I'll pack a bag. Take whatever you need. You can get the rest this weekend. I watched him walk into our bedroom, his bedroom now, I guess, and listened to him opening drawers, pulling clothes from hangers. The sounds of a life being dismantled in real time. I didn't cry. Didn't follow him. Just sat at the kitchen table with my cooling coffee and started making a mental list of everything I needed to do. He came out 20 minutes later with a duffel bag and his laptop case. I'll text you about this weekend. About getting my stuff. Okay. And we should talk about the lease. And the security deposit. And we'll figure it out. Just not today. He nodded. Stood there for a moment like he wanted to say something else. Then he left. I heard the door close. Heard his footsteps in the hallway. Heard the elevator ding. Then silence. I sat in that silence for a long time. Then I called my best friend Mara. Hey, what's up? Ryan broke up with me. What? When? About 30 minutes ago. Over coffee. Told me he doesn't feel romantic feelings anymore and hasn't for months. Jesus. Are you okay? I don't know yet. Can you come over? I'm walking out the door right now. Mara arrived 40 minutes later with wine and takeout, and the kind of fury that only best friends can muster on your behalf. I never liked him, she said, which wasn't true, but I appreciated the loyalty. He said we'd fallen into a routine. That he wanted excitement. He's 33 years old. What kind of excitement is he looking for? Skydiving? A gambling addiction? Probably just dating someone who isn't me. Did he cheat? He says no. But he's been planning this for weeks. Lined up where he'd stay. Picked the perfect time to tell me. What a coward. That's what I said. We ate Thai food and drank wine and she let me talk through everything. The whole conversation, every detail I could remember, trying to make sense of how 4 years could end so abruptly. You know what bothers me most? I said around midnight. He made it sound like a logical decision. Like he'd weighed the pros and cons and determined that staying with me wasn't worth it anymore. Some people treat relationships like business transactions. I just wish he'd told me sooner. Given me a chance to, I don't know, try to fix it. Or at least prepare. Would you have wanted to fix it? With someone who sees you as a cost-benefit analysis. I thought about that. No. I guess not. Over the next few days, I started noticing things I'd missed. Or maybe things I'd chosen not to see. Ryan's social media, which I'd never really paid attention to before, was full of photos from the past few months. Him at bars with Tyler and other friends. Him at a concert I didn't know he'd gone to. Him at a Titans game I definitely didn't know about. All of these things had happened while we were together. While I'd thought we were solid. While I'd been making dinner and working on my designs and planning our boring, routine life that apparently he'd been suffocating in. I went back through our text messages. Looked at them with new eyes. All my messages. What do you want for dinner? Don't forget we have brunch Sunday. Can you pick up cat food? All his messages. Whatever you want. Cool. 'Kay. I'd been having a relationship with someone who'd stopped participating months ago. I just hadn't noticed. On Thursday, Ryan texted asking if he could come by Saturday to get his things. What time? I responded. Around noon. Fine. I won't be here. Take what's yours. Leave your key on the counter. You're not going to be there? No. Don't you think we should talk? About what? About how we're going to split everything. About the lease. About closure. The lease is in both our names. We'll both talk to the landlord separately. You take your stuff, I keep mine. Walter stays with me. That's all the closure I need. This feels cold. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed, you ended a 4-year relationship over coffee because you were bored of our routine. I'm just matching your energy. He didn't respond. Saturday morning, I went to Mara's apartment. Gave her my spare key and asked her to go to my place at 3 p.m. and make sure Ryan had actually left. What if he tries to take stuff that's yours? He won't. He's too concerned with appearing fair. She texted me at 3:15, he's gone. Took his desk, his clothes, some kitchen stuff, and the good coffee maker. Left his key like you asked. Also, Walter is mad at me because I wouldn't give him treats. I smiled at that. Texted back, give him one treat. No more. I went home at 4. The apartment looked strange. Empty in ways I hadn't expected. The desk where Ryan had worked was gone, leaving a rectangle of clean floor in a room full of scuffed hardwood. Half the closet was empty. The bathroom counter only had my products. But it also looked more mine than it had in months. I ordered pizza. Put on a movie Ryan had always hated. Let Walter sit on the couch, even though Ryan had always insisted cats belonged on the floor. Monday morning, I called the landlord. Hi, this is Isabel Chen in Unit 304. My partner and I just broke up. He's moved out. I'd like to stay, but I need to get the lease switched to just my name. I'm sorry to hear that. Let me check. Okay, your lease is up in 3 months anyway. How about this, you sign a new lease in just your name starting when this one ends. That way there's no penalty for breaking the current lease early. That works. Great. I'll send you the paperwork. Tuesday, I blocked Ryan on social media. Not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. I didn't need to see him moving on. Didn't need to watch him find the excitement and adventure he'd been missing. Wednesday, he texted from a number I didn't recognize. Did you block me? I didn't respond. Thursday, Tyler texted me. Which was bold, considering. Hey, Ryan wanted me to reach out. He's worried about you. Wants to make sure you're okay. I responded, tell Ryan if he's worried about me, he can text me from his own number. Oh wait, I blocked it. Guess he'll just have to wonder. Friday, 1 week after the breakup, I went to our usual Sunday brunch spot with Mara and some other friends. The group that had always included Ryan. Sarah, one of our couple friends, pulled me aside. How are you doing? We heard about Ryan. I'm okay. Better than I expected. He texted Kyle asking if he could still come to brunch. Kyle told him that was inappropriate. Kyle's a good friend. He really is. Ryan seemed surprised that we'd take sides. What did he expect? I think he thought we'd all stay neutral. That he could break up with you and everything else would stay the same. That's very on brand for him. 3 weeks after the breakup, I was at a coffee shop working on a freelance project when I saw Ryan walk in with a woman I didn't recognize. She was younger, maybe mid-20s, laughing at something he was saying. He had his hand on her back, casual, familiar, the way he used to touch me. He didn't see me. I was tucked in the corner with my laptop and headphones, effectively invisible. I watched them order, watched him pay for both their drinks, watched them sit at a table near the window, close, leaning in toward each other. I packed up my things and left through the side door. That night, I did the math. 3 weeks since the breakup, which meant he'd probably been seeing her, or at least interested in her, when he told me there was no one else. I wasn't surprised, just disappointed that I'd believed him. Mara called that evening. You okay? You seemed off at brunch last week. I saw Ryan today. With someone. Already. Apparently. What an asshole. Yeah. I paused. You know what's weird? I don't feel heartbroken. I feel relieved. Relieved. Like I've been carrying something heavy for months without realizing it. And now I've put it down. That's not weird. That's healthy. I think he was right. Not about us not working, about us growing in different directions. I just wish he'd been honest about which direction he was growing in. Which is away from commitment, toward whatever makes him feel young and exciting and like he hasn't settled. And where are you growing? I thought about that. Toward actually being happy instead of just comfortable. A month after the breakup, my lease ended and I signed a new one. Just my name. My apartment. My space. I rearranged the furniture. Painted an accent wall. Got rid of the things that reminded me of Ryan and replaced them with things I actually liked. I adopted a second cat. Named her Stevie. Walter was suspicious at first, but eventually accepted his new sister. I started saying yes to things I'd said no to when I was with Ryan. A painting class. A weekend trip to Asheville with friends. A standing Thursday night trivia team. I remembered who I was before I'd spent 4 years accommodating someone else's preferences. 2 months after the breakup, Sarah texted me. Fair warning, Ryan and his new girlfriend broke up. He's been asking people about you. Wants to know if you're seeing anyone. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed, tell him I'm busy. With someone. With my life. 3 months after the breakup, Ryan texted me from a new number. Hey, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I wanted to reach out. I've been doing a lot of thinking about us. About how things ended. I think I made a mistake. I didn't respond. He texted again an hour later. I miss you. I miss us. I miss what we had. Can we talk? Just coffee. I want to explain. Still didn't respond. The next day, I know I hurt you. I know I handled things badly. But I think we owed it to 4 years together to at least try to work through things instead of just ending it. I was scared. I panicked. I'm sorry. I finally responded, you're not sorry you ended it. You're sorry it didn't work out the way you planned. There's a difference. My phone rang immediately. I declined the call. He texted, please. Just give me a chance to explain. I was confused. I thought I wanted something different, but I was wrong. You were what I wanted all along. I typed out a long response. Deleted it. Typed another one. Deleted that too. Finally, I settled on, I'm not interested in being someone's backup plan. You made a choice. Live with it. You're not a backup plan. You're the person I should have chosen from the beginning. But you didn't. You chose to leave. You chose to plan your exit instead of planning our future. You chose excitement over partnership. Those were all choices, Ryan. And I'm choosing to respect them by moving on. So that's it? 4 years, and you won't even give me a chance to make it right. You had 4 years to make it right. You used them. This is what not working out looks like. He called again. I blocked the new number. 4 months after the breakup, I went on my first date. A guy I'd met through the trivia team. He was funny, kind, asked questions, and actually listened to the answers. Nothing serious. Just coffee. Just possibility. 5 months after the breakup, I ran into Tyler at a brewery. He was alone. Looked uncomfortable when he saw me. Isabel. Hey. Tyler. Have you been? Good? You. Good? Yeah. Listen, I wanted to apologize for how everything went down. Ryan was going through something and I should have, I don't know, told him to be more considerate. You're not responsible for Ryan's choices. I know. But I enabled them. Let him crash at my place, encourage the whole finding yourself thing. I didn't think about how it affected you. I appreciate that. For what it's worth, he really regrets it. Talks about you all the time. About how he messed up. That's between him and his therapist. Tyler smiled. That's fair. You seem good. Really good. I am. 6 months after the breakup, Mara and I were getting ready to go out when she asked me something I hadn't expected. Do you still love him? Ryan. Yeah. I thought about it. Really thought about it. I love the version of him I thought I was dating. The one who was present. Who wanted the same things I wanted. But that person might not have ever existed. He might have just been Ryan performing the role of boyfriend until he got bored with the script. That's not an answer. No, I don't love him. I don't think I have for a while. I just didn't realize it until he left. Why not? Because loving him was easier than admitting I'd invested 4 years in someone who was never fully invested in me. 7 months after the breakup, I got a promotion. Senior graphic designer. More money, more responsibility, the kind of career advancement I'd been working toward for years. I celebrated with friends. Posted about it on social media. Got congratulations from people I hadn't heard from in months. Ryan liked the post. Then unliked it. Then sent me a message. Congratulations. You deserve it. You always worked harder than anyone I knew. I didn't respond. But I did notice something. He was still checking my social media. Still keeping tabs on my life. Still waiting for me to reach out. And I realized something that felt like closure. He'd left because he thought he could do better. Because he thought the grass was greener somewhere else. Because he'd convinced himself that excitement and novelty were more valuable than partnership and history. And now he was realizing that what he'd had with me wasn't boring or routine. It was stable. Real. Built on actual compatibility instead of just chemistry. But he'd only figured that out after throwing it away. The revenge wasn't in making him regret leaving. He already did that on his own. The revenge was in being so completely fine without him that his regret didn't matter. 8 months after the breakup, I saw him at a mutual friend's birthday party. We were both invited. I'd considered not going but decided I wasn't going to let him control my social life. He was there with friends. No girlfriend. He saw me across the room and started making his way over. I excused myself from the conversation I was having and went to the bathroom. When I came out, Mara intercepted him. She doesn't want to talk to you, Ryan. I just want to say hi. See how she's doing. She's doing great. Better than she ever did with you. Take the hint. I watched from across the room as he nodded and walked away. Later that night, he texted, "It was good to see you." I deleted the message without responding. 1 year after the breakup, I was exactly where I wanted to be. Better apartment. Better job. Better life. 2 cats who actually got along now. A group of friends who'd proven they valued me. A dating life that was casual and fun without the pressure of performance. And most importantly, a version of myself I actually liked. The version who didn't shrink to make someone else comfortable. Who didn't ignore red flags because addressing them seemed difficult. Who didn't stay in a relationship just because leaving seemed scary. I thought about Ryan sometimes. Wondered if he'd figured out what he was actually looking for. Wondered if he'd found whatever excitement and adventure he'd needed. But I didn't wonder enough to reach out. Didn't care enough to check his social media. Didn't miss him enough to respond to the occasional text. Because I'd learned something important in that year. When someone tells you they don't feel romantic feelings anymore, believe them the first time. Don't wait around hoping they'll change their mind. Don't make yourself smaller trying to reignite something they've already decided to extinguish. Don't accept breadcrumbs from someone who used to give you the whole meal. Just thank them for their honesty and walk away. Because the opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. And by the time Ryan realized what he'd lost, I'd already reached the stage where his realization didn't matter. That's the quietest, most effective revenge of all. Not making them suffer. Not making them beg. Not making them regret. Just making them irrelevant. Ryan ended our relationship because he didn't feel romantic feelings anymore. A year later, I didn't feel anything for him at all. And that indifference, that peace, that complete lack of need for closure or conversation or explanation was worth more than any apology he could ever give. He'd wanted excitement. I'd found contentment. And between the two, I knew which one actually lasted.